Tuesday morning, June 16th, 2023. And it's time for Coffee on the Porch with Eric. My name is Eric Fulcrum. I'm a minister, musician, writer, community activist, and member. Once a week, except for the last month, we gather for a little live stream here on Substack. We call it Coffee on the Porch. We talk about spirituality, politics, music, life. Coffee on the porch that is not on the porch. We'll explain that if you want, or you can just go with it. I play a little music, we do a little conversation. That's what we do here. Welcome, friends. Welcome. Come on in. Come on in the room. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hello? You there? Should I wipe it off a little bit this morning? Y'all, it's been a minute. It has been a full month since we have been here for Coffee on the Porch, and I'm sorry for that, honestly. It's just life. I mean, honest to God, it's just life. There was no avoiding this whatsoever, honestly. So, yeah, welcome back. Come on back and come on in. And I'm going to post behind the scenes. I'm even going to get to post on Facebook this morning. You know, I've forgotten to tell you all this. You might do that this morning if you have the opportunity to just remind people that we're here after a month being gone. That was my worry, is that none of you would come back. But I'm on it already. Honestly, it looks like I see you here. So let me just do this real quick. One little post to social media, and then I'm back with you. Click, post, boom, done. Excellent. All right. Hi. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Did I remember how to set everything up? Because it could be that we go way off the trail this morning with the technology. All right, let me welcome all of you here. Welcome back. Welcome me back. Welcome you back to Coffee on the Porch. Good morning to those joining us. Good morning, Michael Tier. I hope you are enjoying this if this is your first time. Good morning, Debbie and Bobby Berger up in Plano. I saw them last week. I see them in the real world. Good morning, Dan Gilliam. Good morning, Nancy Bryant up in Fort Collins, Colorado. Good morning, Marla. Good morning, Sue Roberts. Good morning, Tom Sherrill. Good morning, Tara Lang down in Brownwood, Texas. Good morning, Cat Bird, and congratulations. No, not Cat Bird. Good morning from Grapevine to Cat Bird. I'm ahead of myself with my congratulations. Calm down, Eric. You'll get there in a minute. Good morning, Susan Williams. Oh, what? Susan Williams says, we have a mutual friend. By the way, I have a childhood friend named Susan Williams. Different Susan Williams. I guess there's a few of you probably. Anyway, love that name is the point. And she joins us from Starkville. You've been joining us for a while. And she's pointing out we have a mutual friend, my dear friend, Larry Norman. We should bug Larry. Occasionally, Larry back in the day used to join us, and he hasn't joined us in a while. Dan Gilliam says, I was missed. I missed being here. I truly did. Good morning, Carol Scott, David Griggs. Good morning to Linda Waring, joining us up in Ohio. Good morning, David Griggs. David says, I've been trying to find you, but now I know why. Thanks for returning. Oh, yeah. No, we haven't been here, buddy. Yeah, no, it wasn't your fault for the last month. That's why. Well, I thought we were going to have, I guess we don't have, let's see if she let's see if Carol Ann joins us, because she's got big news since we were gathered together. Anyway, hi, I'm back. For those of you who are finding us for the first time, this is Coffee on the Porch. This is a live stream that I do. Oh, Carol Ann's here. All right. Pausing to say congratulations, Carol Ann. Carol Ann got hitched since the last time we were here. You got to tell us a good story about that. I hope it went well. I don't know. I have not seen a lot of what's happened in the world or your lives since we were last together, all of you, or the world. So I may have missed some major things, which you can fill me in on. But we're here for an hour. We have a little coffee. We take a deep breath, and we ask ourselves how we're doing. David Griggs signed up for this last week. And I think it helped you, didn't it, David? You got the little text nudge. So this is for a text list where we will send one little text reminder 30 minutes ahead of time so that you can join us live so you're not caught short at 9:30 going, oh, crap, where's my coffee? Where's my iPad? Whatever. Scan the code, copy the number here, and just sign up. And we'll only send you that one text per week, okay? No spamming you about a lot of other crap. But that's what we'll do, okay? That's what the text messages are. So, pretty decent crowd here. I know some people are going to have some time finding us again. I see. You thought I kicked you out, did you? Oh, come on, man. Did you get to go to Rodney Pirtle's funeral, buddy? I did not, because of all the things I'll be talking to you about in a minute. All right, friends, the first thing we do is check in and ask, how is your soul, okay? How you doing? How you holding in there? How you hanging on? This is a very Methodist question. John Wesley. I've been reading John Wesley's journal again. Hey, Larry Pennington, joining us from Colorado. But the first thing we do, everybody get your coffee. Take a deep breath. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths today, huh? Whew. Man, oh man. I'm going to pour myself some coffee. I got the Onyx Monarch coffee. Still waiting for my endorsement deal from them. In the official Coffee on the Porch mug, which has the question on it for you. How is your soul? Hey, good morning, Mark Greenberg. Are you the Judge Mark Greenberg that I know? Or are you some other Mark Greenberg? Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how is your soul? And take a deep sip of whatever you're drinking. I need a lot of this. I'm going to tell y'all. I'm going to put the mug down. Now, what happens now is a musical interlude so that you can write a comment in the chat. Right there in the chat. Write yourself a comment. Oh, it's the other side. The chat's over here. It doesn't matter. Anyway, write a comment in the chat. And I'll just noodle on this guitar for a minute. How is your soul? How you doing? How you been for the last month? What's been going on with you? It's a lot to catch up on. We probably can't catch up on all of it, so give me the highlights of what's been going on with y'all. What are your thoughts about the world right now? What are you feeling about the future of America as we look forward to America 250?
You're right, there's too much to say. There really is. I'm sorry I've been gone for a month. 'Cause how do you sum up a month? Give it your best shot.
I took this guitar with me to the Kerrville Folk Festival. I didn't take my other guitar, I just took this one. It's the first time I've ever taken one, and just one. And at one point we got into a song circle that lasted for about 6 hours. That is not an exaggeration. It was during the day. I think we sat down about 11:30. And we didn't get up till about 6:30. It was just musicians coming, going. I was there for most of the time. I had no idea that much time had passed. But my point of telling you this is that that afternoon, somehow nobody else had their guitar, and so they passed around this guitar for hours. So not only did I come back the good songwriter mojo, but so did this instrument. And I was happy that I think people liked it. People thought it was beautiful and playable.
Oh, leave a comment so we can share. How is your soul?
I know, right? It was so Kerrville. That's exactly the way to describe it. It was so Kerrville. I gotta tell you, my, I love my Santa Cruz guitar. It's probably still my number one, but this guitar and I have a new relationship after Kerrville. Seeing it play is something about, I don't know, seeing your own instrument in somebody else's eyes for those 6 hours as we traded songs. It really was 6 hours, and it was insane. And we really did get up and just look and say, wait, what? It's 6:30? I got to take a shower. I got to have dinner. What happened to lunch? I mean, it was crazy. Good morning to Donna Rhinesmith. Welcome. If this is your first time, let's see. Let me jump back a bit. We're asking. Good morning, Mark Greenberg. I think I said the question on the floor is, how is your soul? How are you? How are you doing? What are you thinking about your own life? What's going on in your own life? What are you thinking about this crazy ass world of ours and all the division and everything? What are you thinking about all that? All right, let's get to it, shall we? Let me read some of your comments. So as I noted to you, you see Carol Ann, K.A., pointing out, I'm a real married lady. If rain is a good sign on your wedding day, what is hail? Oh my God, really? It hailed? Did it hail? Really? Oh God. So sorry. What happened? I mean, were you able to get through it all? Because I think, wasn't it outdoors or something? Part of it was outdoors. Anyway, Carol Ann says, I'm deliriously happy. He is a very good man. I'm so happy for your happiness, Carol Ann. That's one of the things we have to do here is not only talk about the things in life we think that suck, but also to connect with and take some joy in the things that are good and happy and true. Tara Lang says this. Oh, I didn't know this. How come you didn't come see us? Because Tara Lang says she went to Dallas over the weekend. And I have a lot of other things going on here, just getting stuff ready for next weekend. What's next weekend for y'all? Tell me. I'm sorry, I don't know. Come see us. I mean, I always love seeing you guys when you're in town. Debbie Berger up in Plano says that she's excited that our friend Sue has her last chemotherapy appointment this morning. Fantastic. I hope it went well. Bobby Berger says he dusted off the coffee on the porch mug. I mean, if you're excited to get a coffee on the porch mug, then, they are available at ericfolkerth.com. Linda Waring up in Ohio says this. Spring days are good. Spring days. Wait, what spring days? We're in full summer down here, my friend. we are it's 77 this morning, which is a little odd, a little cool. We've been in our usual 90s with a lot of humidity and a lot of rain. All right, but here's what Linda's saying. My main focus is preparing to move to my senior community before the end of the year. Big prayers for that. Good morning, Tom Rapsis. Dan Gilliam says this. I retired at annual conference and then started a CPE course. What? Because you're never too old to learn. Look at Dan, my colleague, Reverend Dan Gilliam. Look at that. He retires. So you think just take some time off? No, he signed up for a class for clinical pastoral education because, as he says, you're never too old to learn. God bless you for showing us how it's done. Bobby says this, does Denise go with me to Kerrville? She goes every so often, maybe every 5 to 7 years, something like this. Camping is really not her thing. And now with her autoimmune stuff, it's really, really not her thing. So we're actually talking about ways to, if we can get a little more money in our pipeline, which may be coming soon, maybe getting a B&B in town, Airbnb, or getting a camper, as a lot of people do out there. Maybe. I don't know. But she only goes every now and then because of that. And she hasn't been since the autoimmune stuff. So that's the way it goes. But you know what? I find that many of us who go, we have spouses back in the real world, and it's just our thing, and it's not necessarily their thing. And you know what? That's okay. That's really okay. Okay, Larry Pennington says, my heart and soul is better. Larry lost his wife last year, and he says, I'm learning to let my heart recover in its own time, not forcing myself through the grief. Larry, that's very wise. That's incredibly wise, and you probably knew that ahead of time, but it's one thing to know it in your head, and it's another thing to be reminded of it in your heart, right? So yeah, that's very wise. You remember that I have described grief being a bit like waves, and you're just up at the surf is like up to your knees. You're at the ocean side. Maybe you got a margarita in your hand. You think, this is fine. This is good. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of grief just slaps you in the face or in the chest. And you think, where did that come from? So congratulations on being patient with yourself. Hey, James Myers. James Myers says, my project people keeping me busy. Well, you know what? Being busy is better than the alternative, isn't it? Isn't that right? I hope that's right. Catbird says this, the last 3, y'all are still talking and it's moving away. The last 3 loved ones I've lost have not had funerals or anything else for that matter, and it makes, I think you mean it makes you appreciate the value and importance of that ritual. We need rituals. We need markers on our life, not just birth and death even, but other markers of movement through life. Yeah, they really are important. So I'm sorry for that. And, it's never too late, Kat. You might get together with some friends just in a small thing, honestly. Some people just do that. Dan Fogelberg didn't have a memorial service till 3 years after he died. So, Tara Lang says, you had a lot of stuff with your mom to talk about. Went to her church. Oh, I believe, wasn't that Marcus's last Sunday out there at at the church? I think it was. Marcus Womack moving to a new place. James Meyer says, Houston is in boating mode. Getting a tad of rain down there, are you? We got a lot of rain the last month around here. A lot of rain, a lot of hail. It's eased off. I don't want to jinx it, but it's eased off. We still have these damn clouds all the time, though. Nancy Bryant says we're enjoying spring weather, too. Wow, okay. Well, congratulations. Carol Ann says the wedding was beautiful, and after everyone had gotten to the reception venue, it hailed. We had umbrellas for the folks to go under the food trucks. Chuckles at the adventure. God bless you. Well, it's a good story. It's a good story that you'll tell yourself the rest of the while. Texas wants to camp in Colorado. Yes. Yes, James is correct. All of us here in Texas are ready to go up and join you all. Yes, the whole Colorado crew, Larry and Nancy and everybody. Good morning, Karen Llewellyn. Welcome. You're never too old to learn. You really are not. David Griggs says this. David says he's sickened by the political rhetoric about James Tallarico's Christianity by those who seem to know so little about it. Look, I said this some weeks ago, and I remember I wrote a piece about this. Let me see if I can call it back quickly. It's still annoying because Substack doesn't allow hyperlinks in this chat, which is super, super annoying to me. But I wrote about that. I wrote about how, look, this is not going to be an easy ride. He's going to get a lot of crap. But here's the deal. Here's the truth. All of us with a progressive form of Christianity, all of us who understand our faith in that way, we have gotten this kind of crap from the hard right evangelicals for decades. For decades now, we have. And so I wrote, you can copy that link off that I just posted if you want to be reminded. I wrote about, I'm here for this conversation. I'm here for the idea of progressive Christianity and moderate Christianity, mainline, progressive Catholicism and moderate mainline, and black Protestants getting their day back in the sun. Should Tallarico win and should Adam Hamilton win, we would have a mainline moderate United Methodist. We would have a liberal Presbyterian, James Tallarico, and his pastor friend Jim Rigby, a friend of mine. And we would have already Senator Warnock, who is the descendant of Martin Luther King. And if that happens, if we get through all this vitriol and crap, our nation will be having a different conversation about Christianity, and I'm here for that. So I know it is. I know it's ugly, and it's going to be ugly, but it's not new. It's not new, y'all. This is what they've done. This is what they've always done. This is what they've done for generations. These folks. Nancy says, "Come on up to Colorado. Love to see you." Bryn, Paula is here. How are you? How are you? I texted with Patty Prasada Rao during the festival, Bryn. We texted back and forth. I said, I love you. I miss you. Miss Tom. Can't help but think about Tom when I'm down there. Waco was my Baptist grandmother. Every phone call had 10 minutes of railing against Criswell. Wait, what? Wait, so she didn't like Criswell? She was a Baptist who did not like Criswell. Really? Tell me more about that. That's interesting. And yeah, we've had this. This is a great, a great comparison that's going around. Tallarico's girlfriend is a vegan. Paxton's girlfriend is an adulteress. Oh, God. Oh, I know. You can't make this stuff up. James is doing great. I text him every now and then. I say, keep it up, buddy. Very proud of him. Look, whatever happens, I'll just keep saying this. I'm here for the conversation. I'm here for the cultural reframing of the Christianity that's always been here, which is quite different from the evangelical Christianity that's ascended. Good morning, Michael Wesley, down south of me. How are you doing? How's your soul? Why don't you chime in a bit more on how your soul is? Let me get one more big sip of coffee. Thank you all. This is working. A month off and you're back. We got a good crowd today. I'm so glad to see you all. I really am. Y'all, it's been a month. Nancy said earlier it's really too much, and the truth is that is true. It is too much to talk about, but that has never stopped me. So here we go. I'm going to talk to you a bit about the last month and tell you what's happening. By the way, the live stream seems to be frozen, but I don't think it is. So I'm going to trust that you're still making comments. So I'm trusting that it's still going. As often happens, I'm having a little trouble on my end. Let's see here. Watch an app. I should not be pausing for this. I don't want to screw this up. Yeah, it's working okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my little thing. Well, anyway, what you're looking at here is a picture from the. I'm gonna catch you up on my last month, y'all. Buckle up. It's been a lot. Oh wait, let me pause this. I saw a YouTube on IHIP with Jennifer Welch about renovating the United States. I remembered enough of the guest to help you all find the YouTube. I don't know what IHIP is. You'll have to say a bit about all of that. That it may be that Siri didn't help you with that translation. Anyway, let me just run through this. I'm going to stop paying attention to your comment. Thank you all for catching us up on how you are. Let me tell you where I've been. Started off at the Kerrville Folk Festival. We first gathered the third Tuesday of May, and that was the last time we gathered because 2 days later I came down to the Kerrville Folk Festival and I spent 9 and a half days down there. I saw a lot of friends. Here's two pictures. This is kind of weird. I put two pictures on the one page. The picture beneath is myself and my dear friend Joe Jinks and Helena, who is a dear friend of ours, and Steve Fisher. Frankly, all three of these, Steve, Helena, and Joe, are some of my dearest friends on the ranch, and I deeply cherish the time to catch up with them when I'm down there. In the top picture is me, and these are our campmates down in what we call the slower meadow now. That's the very, very smallest part, longest, farthest away part of the ranch. And that is Lynn and Dan in the center, and that's Alan Gann sticking his head in. And I think it had just rained. I think we have our raincoats on, and that's why we look that way, because it rained. We got a lot of rain down there. But then the rain went away after the first few days. We didn't have any high wind, thank God. We didn't have any hail this year. And the rain went away, and most of it was just beautiful. As I've shared with you, I do work when I'm down there. Actually, I am blessed to host what they call In Memoriam Night, which is basically a memorial service slash. It's like an All Saints service, although they would not call it that, to remember all those who have died in the last year since we last were at the festival. And we had 36 names this year. And it was a lot. And this is a picture of us at the end of the night. We bring everybody back on stage, and Joe is in the center there singing his song, Going Home, and we read off the names. But, of course, this year, in something that I want to talk about a bit later, we also remember the Kerrville flood. It was a year ago, in 2 weeks, 10 days, when the Kerr County was hit with a tremendous flood. And we named the fact that the festival really pitched in. They were a remarkable part of the recovery. The festival opened its doors because there is no festival after it's over. It's just a ranch. It's a working ranch. People come and camp there during the year with their RVs because there's hookups and stuff. But there's a full-size commercial kitchen there. And so chefs came from Austin and just took over the kitchen and cooked meals for the rescue workers for months. People who were rescue workers came and parked their RVs there. The festival itself raised $100,000 for flood relief. There were all sorts of beautiful things. So we talked about, we had a moment of silence to remember all those who had died. And y'all, that was very long. It was, hundreds of people who died. So it was 1 second for each person who died. And it was sobering how long that silence felt. But then we turned to talk about this hopeful time. And Deb Rouse, our festival director, got up and talked about just how beautiful that was, how beautiful all that time was. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, friend. Good to see you. But anyway, that was the festival. Then after that night is over, I get to enjoy myself. And this was a really beautiful song circle one night. I don't know, this is 2 a.m, 1 a.m, who knows? And just I'm in this circle with some dear songwriter friends, new people that I met, old dear friends of mine, all gathered together. Here's another one. Here's another song circle. I believe this was the last night I was there. In fact, yeah, the very last night I was there, which was Thursday night. And the reason I mentioned that Thursday night is because on that day we got word of this happening. The Oak Cliff apartment explosion. Not even 2 miles. I think it's about 1.1 miles from our church. I was, of course, in a tent at Kerrville when my phone started blowing up and people were saying, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And people were posting pictures. There was a gas line explosion at an apartment building in Oak Cliff, Texas, near our church. There was a cloud of smoke that people could see forever. Everybody in Oak Cliff felt the jarring shaking of the explosion. And many people have been displaced. This is a picture that was taken about a week later that I took. I'll get to this in a minute. But these are rescue workers who come back a week later for a second vigil. And you can see not only is the apartment building leveled and gone, but the one next to it is unoccupiable. It doesn't obviously have gas or electricity. And so I met people. I'll talk about this in a minute. I met some people. Well, I guess I'll talk about it now. Let's see, where are my slides going here? So I drove back in from the festival, and normally, you kind of like to have a little, I don't know, take a breath before you get going again with everything? Oh, no. No, no, no. I drove right in. I took a shower. And then I gathered over at Adamson High School for a very large community vigil. It was a beautiful vigil that Friday night. Just this is a block, perhaps, from where the explosion was. And there were politicians, and I had been told there'd be a lot of faith leaders there. So I invited them all. This is spontaneous. You can see me there behind the podium, and just to my left are many of the faith leaders of Oak Cliff and Dallas who showed up, and I just had them come forward because I wanted everybody to see that there are people here praying and ready to listen and support, and of course help with recovery. So I'm grateful to the organizers for asking me to be a part of that, and this is one of the Oak Cliff Stands Together, one of the reminders that was created that night. So look, that has been dominant in our world here in Oak Cliff since. Mission Oak Cliff and Cliff Temple Baptist is a block from the site. Their pastor Gannon Sims is a dear friend. And they've been taking the lead on the response, as they should. There have been some people who've asked me, are you collecting stuff? It's like, nope. Send it to Mission Oak Cliff. Let's model good behavior of leveraging the resources that we do have. So we sent everything to Mission Oak Cliff. We sent volunteers there. We sent money. And they have been taking the lead. Austin Street Center is coordinating with the city 6 months of rental relief for anyone who was affected. Bed Start, a group that I know from Plano, United Methodist, connected with Custer Road United Methodist, my friend Corey Knott up there. They normally just work in Plano, but they are delivering beds and dressers to those who suffered in this way. But of course, one of the things that many of you are in Dallas, is that one of the victims, one of the people who died in this blast, was a woman named Sylvia Collins. Sylvia was a remarkable Latina activist, a very wise person who lived in that apartment building, and she was one of 3 people who died that night, that day. This is a picture of her at the last No Kings protest, and on the right, I love this picture. This is in our sanctuary. This is at Kessler Park United Methodist, and this is one of the Mega March planning meetings. And you see all the people gathered there, and you see the fists in the air, and you notice it's the young kids with their fists in the air. And then somehow Sylvia wore blue. I guess she didn't get the memo. Everybody else wore black that day. She wore blue, so she stands out, and you can really see her there. God bless her. The last time I saw her was, I think I talked about this when it happened. Texas had a 600th execution, and there were, 10 or 15 of us that gathered downtown to have some prayer, and Sylvia was there. And I didn't know that was the last time I would see her. How would you know these things? But she was a dear friend to many. I admired her greatly, and I would see her often in the community. And it was a big loss for, particularly, I would say, for Latina activists in the city. And so I want to say a bit more about her in a minute. But that was the apartment explosion, and it was a lot. And it was a lot to drive straight back in from this relaxing, beautiful festival to that. It was a little jarring, I'm not going to lie. And then Sunday we had worship, and Sunday afternoon we went to Wichita Falls because it was annual conference. It was the Horizon Texas annual conference. Pastor Kay and I are not members of the Blue Man Group. They just had the weird concert lighting. I don't know why people feel like they need to put concert lighting in a conference where people just want to see each other. Come on, people. Let us gather in the real world, please. So it was 3 days of business meetings. I was very grateful that the bishop in his Episcopal address mentioned our clear clergy-led vigils. So thank you to him for that. And that's what you see, a picture of us out at the ICE headquarters. And thank you to the bishop for mentioning that, as he was talking about what it means to love boldly. And so that was one of his examples of what it means to love boldly. So thank you, Bishop Sines, for noticing what Clear is doing and for naming what we think it is, which is loving people boldly. Thank you. I just want to note a couple of other things that happened at annual conference. I got together with these guys. Oh my goodness. These dear friends. These are clergy friends of mine that I've had for years. Next to me on the far left is Charles and Cammie and Mary Beth and Brian and Lisa and Deborah and Laura and Billy. And we, many years ago, this is a picture of us when we were kids. This is our house. This is here at the log house. This is a dinner we had over here one time where we grilled out. And that's Billy and Laura on the right, and that's Charles and his wife on the left. And that's some of our members who weren't in the picture in the middle there. But we've known each other now, I don't even know, 35 years. And we were in a study group, a reading group together for some years that we called Listening for God. And somehow we'd never taken a picture. I don't know why. Why do we never take a picture? But we gathered everybody together and took a picture, and God bless this group. And for those of you who are United Methodists, you probably know a lot of these people, but you probably didn't know how deeply we know each other. And one of the missing members here, friends, one of the people who's not in this picture is Kathleen Baskin, who was also a part of this group. So God bless the Listening for God group. This was exciting. This is 3 generations of North Haven pastors, myself, and Willett on the other side, who is retiring this year. And we are so excited for North Haven's new pastor, who is coming to us now. So God bless them, and so excited about this transition. Y'all, you may have heard the Southern Baptists this week had a convention, and they doubled down on, you just saw 2 women clergy. They doubled down on how women allegedly can't be pastors. It's news to me, news to many Christians. And there's a lot of people posting about it. I'm not even going to get into it. I can't do that anymore. I can't. What I called it this week, I said it's batshit crazy. I don't understand it. That's the only way I can describe this kind of thing. And all I can do is to tell you that in our United Methodist tradition, we have ordained women for 70 years. And we celebrated that this year. And these are the women from the Horizon, Texas Conference. These are clergy ordained deacons and elders in the United Methodist Church. This is not all of them in Texas even. It's not even all of them in Horizon, Texas. It's just all those who could be present for the picture. But I want you to take a look at that hundreds of women who are ordained and serving faithfully and have been for decades in the United Methodist Church. So thank you to them, and God bless them. But we weren't done with Oak Cliff, y'all. We weren't done with the apartment. I got word from my friend Gannon Sims, who I've already mentioned, who is the pastor at Cliff Temple, that they were going to have a second vigil. And I didn't even get any pictures of the vigil because I was too busy. He asked me to come and be a pastoral presence with people. I did get a picture of the blast site. The second vigil, I have to tell you, I think I may have even liked even more than the first one. And the second vigil was mostly organized by, excuse me, by Gannon and by my friend, Representative Jessica Gonzalez, who represents Oak Cliff. And they had at that vigil, they had some of the survivors there, and they had some of the first responders there. And it was very tender to be invited to be there and to speak with some of those survivors. A woman who was in the building next door who talked about living through it. I'm not going to go into what she heard or saw. It's deeply traumatic, as you might imagine. But additional to that, I ran into a Dallas police officer standing in this group of circle of people who was just weeping because he said, I grew up in Oak Cliff and I remember Sylvia Collins when I was a kid. I talked to some of the people, some of the EMS people here were some of the very first responders. They were there within 2 minutes of the blast. And because they are literally right around the corner. And they are confident, and I agree, that they probably saved lives because the first thing they did was to block off the street so that no traffic could go up and down that very busy street. But I did talk with one of the first responding EMS people, and we talked about trauma, and I said, I hope you guys get some, because they saw some horrific things. They said the bricks blew all the way across the street and hit the other side. There was a car still there that it looked to be burned out. Like it was horrible. It was a really, really, really troubling moment. So thank you to Gannon Sims and Jessica for inviting me to that second vigil. I ended up writing a piece after that because I had just been to annual conference where the bishop had been talking about loving boldly. And so it seemed to me that our response in Oak Cliff, loving neighbors, was an example of loving boldly. And that's myself and Jessica Gonzalez. And I just she was very emotional at this vigil, and it was beautiful, frankly. And I this picture that somebody took just captured her fierce pain, fierceness and resolve, which is what happens after a time like this. Where do I want to go now? What is this picture? Oh, this is Pride Parade. We also had Pride Parade. Oh, by the way, it's Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. Here are some of our reconciling clergy, and here's myself and Pastor Kay and her daughter, all at the Pride Parade. It was a lot of fun. We have started our summer camps. There's Kay and the kids from last week. Our 2020 Kessler Quest summer camps are underway. They started last week. But finally last Saturday, we were privileged at Kessler Park to host the memorial service for Sylvia Collins. This was really a beautiful moment where activists and her family, about 20 members of her family, organizers, Latinos, African Americans, Anglos, rich, poor, everyone came together to honor Sylvia Collins. And I want to say thank you again to the community for allowing us to host that service. I'm still not done, y'all. By the way, we also had a press conference last Tuesday. That's why I couldn't be with you last Tuesday. These are two of the media accounts from Courier, Texas, and People newspapers. We are working on a new issue. Clear DFW is now working with several activist groups, El Movimiento, DSA, Y'all, Texas, which I just love that name, on this issue relating to Love Field. All credit to our friend John Putnam, who really pushed this and did the hard work of researching the fact that Ice Air is using Love Field for their flights. Dallas is now the leader in the rounding up and the deportations of people. And we wanted to do this during the World Cup to point out that wealthy people are flying into Love Field on private jets at the same time that migrants are being taken out in this airport that is owned by the city of Dallas. So unlike other private airports, this is not a private airport. This is owned by our city. So we feel the city ought to stand up to this, and that's why we held that press conference. And thank you to John Putnam for bringing that to our attention. We're grateful to his leadership, and they had an action Saturday during the memorial service, so I couldn't go. But y'all, we had some personal tragedy as well that many of you in the area heard. There was a street racing incident last week, and unfortunately, some of the victims of that are Denise's family. Denise's cousin Teresa and her daughter and her daughter's son. I believe it's her nephews as well. Mother, sister, and nephew all died in this because of street racers. They've caught the street racers, but you hear about these things on the news, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, this is family. As it turns out, Teresa's in this picture on the left with Denise. That's Denise and her cousin Teresa, who died. Teresa's sister, Mary, lives right down the block from Kessler Park. They live, Mary and her husband live on Kessler Parkway. So Denise, the day after this was the day of the press conference that this was all discovered. So this is what I'm saying. These events are just tumbling out, y'all. We're just barely keeping up with all this. But Denise spent the whole afternoon there. I spent about half an hour giving our condolences to Mary and her husband on the death of her sister and sister-in-law, and of course all the other cousins. There will be a memorial service for them next week, and it's a lot, y'all. It's an absolute lot. All right, let me see what this is. Oh, I'm gonna come back to this. Meanwhile, at Kessler Park, we continue to serve. We did Hillcrest House and served a Pride-themed meal to the good people of Hillcrest House. We've had 2 families join in the last 2 weeks. People keep joining Kessler Park, y'all. We're super excited about this. Young families coming. I gotta say, look on the left here. Natasha Perez and her sons. You are her son and daughter. First off, Luke is just the cutest kid ever. But look at their names, y'all. Their names are Luke and Leia. And yes, she named her kids after the Star Wars characters. Natasha, you are a woman after my own heart, and welcome to Kessler Park. Welcome to these beautiful young families. We're so happy to have you. All right, friends, it's a lot. It's an absolute lot. I've written several things during the last month. Holy cow. It was a lot to catch up on. Thank you for tolerating me catching you up on just all this insanity, craziness that has been happening here. But I do want to, I want to end with, I've written several essays in the last month, but the one that the Love Boldy one is quite good, I think. I made a connection between Oak Cliff and Minneapolis. We didn't have an ice surge in Oak Cliff, but we have the same kind of diverse community that they have in Minneapolis. And some of us clergy were honored to get to know some of the pastors from March, a group in Minneapolis that has been working to respond in Minneapolis. Thank you, Michael. I will pass that along. Thank you, Michael. And the community really came together. And my new friend, Susie Hayward, I think I wrote about her. She wrote this beautiful piece where she said, we just all love each other. And so when I thought about Minneapolis, I thought about how the people of Oak Cliff are learning anew how to all love each other and to love boldly across lines of race and gender and sexual orientation and economic circumstance. And as I say, that is always hard work. It's always hard in the best of times to love people who are different from you, to understand them. It's very easy to misunderstand them. Very easy for all of us to misunderstand each other. So it's harder in harder times. And these are hard times, but God bless Oak Cliff for doing it well. Oak Cliff is doing it well, and we are coming together, and I'm grateful for that. The last thing that I wrote, though, was last week's sermon, and it was about this. It can be this way always. What do I mean by that? So at the Kerrville Folk Festival, right at the entrance and exit, there is a sign that says, "It can be this way always." And you're meant to see that as you leave or as you come, to be reminded that we really can live with grace, with art, exchanging hugs, creating community. That's what we do down at the festival. But it strikes me that that is what we were also doing in Oak Cliff. What we are doing in Oak Cliff is responding by being together. And that's what we're trying to do at Kessler Park, is to be a community for everybody. So I can't help but keep connecting the Kerrville flood of a year ago and the apartment explosion in Oak Cliff, partly because I literally came back from the festival where we remembered the Kerrville flood to the apartment explosion in Oak Cliff. Those two things were literally connected, a remembrance of a year ago and what happened this year. And here's what I saw commonality-wise, is that people pitch in. At a time like that, they pitch in. They love each other. They show up for each other. They, as I told you, the festival raised $100,000 and opened their kitchen. There was a beautiful quote from a chef who said, "I just didn't know." She lived in Austin. She just drove out and lived there for weeks, cooking meals for rescue people. In Oak Cliff, all these groups I mentioned, Mission Oak Cliff and the city of Dallas and Rosemont Elementary, who's reaching out to a specific family. I'm seeing this care being extended time and time again. What happens is what I think we Christians call compassion. Christian compassion, splagnizomai, which is the deepest part of compassionate love. And when you have something that happens, like the Kerrville flood and like the Oak Cliff explosion, you see the kindness that we can show each other. And what we do at the festival, and what I think we do in Christian worship, is we say to ourselves, but it can be this way always. That's what our benediction really is. When you leave a worship service at the very end, it's basically go back out into the world and do the love that we talked about here. Don't just talk about it for an hour, but go and help feed the hungry and clothe the naked. Do the things that Jesus said to do. And we see that compassion at a time of crisis, like the Hill Country flood. My friend Alan Gann, who is a poet, Alan basically wrote this remarkable poem where he talked about what it was like to be in Kerrville after the flood. The hippies of the festival and the people in the town don't always see eye to eye. Very red, cowboy, gun rack folks, who I love, by the way. I lived in the Hill Country for a year, you know. And then the festival, these hippie tie-dye, folks out at the festival, my dear tribe, they always kind of look warily at each other. But Alan wrote this great poem, and he said, for a moment in the Walmart parking lot, it didn't matter if your bumper sticker said, coexist or out of my cold, dead hands. That's the whole divide right there. For a moment, it didn't matter. We were all one people together. And that's what we're seeing in Oak Cliff. For this moment that we're in right now, it doesn't feel like it matters. We're really all together. What I'm saying to you is that when we worship, at the end of our worship, we have a benediction. Kessler's benediction says that the world is too dangerous for anything but the truth and too small for anything but love. That's what we send ourselves out, reminding ourselves that, yeah, we just had a great hour together, but it can be this way always. You can express that kind of love and grace to people. You really can create that kind of community. You can do it. We can all do it together. It doesn't have to just be something that happens every now and then, and it doesn't have to be something that just happens after a terrible tragedy. So I am going to get to a song. I know we've gone over, but it's a lot. And I want to play this song because at the end of our time talking about the festival recovery, we asked my friend Chuck Brodsky to sing this song of his. I've done this song a couple times in the last year, and I don't care. Because it fits. It fits. Sarah Hickman made this song popular, but Chuck wrote it, and he was there, and he came up and played this song at the end of our time talking about the flood relief. That time where it didn't matter whether our bumper sticker said coexist or out of my cold dead hands. That's what's happening in Oak Cliff right now. This sort of compassionate love where it doesn't matter what race we are, what tribe, what culture, but we're pulling together in beautiful ways. So thank you to Chuck for this song, and thank you for tolerating long catching up. But as I remember all the things, the flood, the explosion, I remember the chorus of this song by Chuck. Well, I hope to see you later, 'cause it's time for me to go. That's my ride that just pulled over, and it sure was good to know you. Go answer your calling. Go and fill somebody's cup. And if you hear an angel falling, won't you stop and help him up? 'Cause we are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time, and we keep each other going, and we show each other signs. Sometimes you'll stumble,
Sometimes you'll just lie down. Sometimes you'll get lonely, even with all these people around. You might shiver when the wind blows, and you might get blown away. You might lose a little color. You might lose a little faith. 'Cause we are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time, and we keep each other going, and we show each other signs. Thank you for the water. Now I thought I was gonna die. I was out here in the desert, but you quenched my thirst so dry. Let's break a little bread together. I've got some manna, and it was a gift. It came from someone who was passing and stopped to offer me a lift. 'Cause we are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time, and we keep each other going, and we show each other signs. We are each other's angels. Oh, we are each other's angels. Oh, we are each other's angels. Oh, we are each other's angels. Oh. Song from the great Chuck Brodsky. We are each other's angels. Hope. Very little that is stronger. Right? Right, Larry? There is very little that is stronger than hope. And there's very little that's stronger than the simple compassion of strangers, of angels, of people who step up at our moment of trial. So, that's the beautiful thing about that festival night where we do our time of remembrance, because there's Chuck. He's there. The dude that wrote that song. It's like, Chuck, can you come play the song? He immediately said, yes, that's the perfect song for that moment, as we remember how we were each other's angels in Kerr County, regardless of our politics. And as I remember now how we are each other's angels here in Oak Cliff. And as we remember then every week that it can be this way always. This doesn't just have to happen in those times. We come together to practice our faith, and practicing our faith means loving the stranger and the outsider. And that is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. So that's why we come together. That's the why behind our worship. Yes, to connect with God, but why? Why to connect with God? So that we remember that God wants us to love the stranger, to reach out in compassion, to show mercy, not judgment. And that's what it's all about. So anyway,
thank you all for tolerating an extremely long rant this morning about all of these things. This is what we did this week. We had this one song. We had, oh, no, that's not it. Where's the song slide? Right there. Right there? Nope. Not there. Right there. Chuck Brodsky. Chuck Brodsky wrote this song, We Are Each Other's Angels. Just felt like the song for the day. Check him out. Check out Sarah Hickman, who made that song popular many years ago. And all right, well, that's it, y'all. I know I went long. I'm kind of stunned I got through it all. Can you believe all that stuff that's happened? And look, y'all, you didn't tell me all the stuff that's gone on in your lives in the last month. So, come back next week when we're together again, and you can share more things next week about what happened. The world ain't going to stop. We went the whole hour. I'm not want to open this up now. I just want to note that we just had a whole hour and nobody mentioned that stupid UFC fight. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for not going there. What a time we're in. What a time. So thank you, Dan. I'm glad to be back too. I'm glad to be back with you. God bless you all. We're going to sign off here. Hope you have a good week. I haven't looked at the schedule. We have 3 short trips coming up this summer. And the bad news for Coffee on the Porch is that they are going to be in the middle of the weeks. So I hate to tell you, there is some likelihood that I'll be off some other weeks soon. So 4th of July week, probably, for example. So we'll be back when we can. Thank you, Carol Ann. We're glad to see you and learn the good things you do. Well, thank you. It feels very rich right now with everything. We don't ever wish for bad things to happen, but when we can be of use as pastors in times like this, it feels good, to reach out to the people of Oak Cliff, to reach out with other partner groups about this Love Field mess. To be with family who are going through their own sufferings after that crash. All right, friends, God bless you and God keep you. Until next time, this has been Coffee on the Porch Live. Glad that you joined us. We'll see you next Wednesday at 9:30. Next Wednesday, what? Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. God bless. Everybody have a great week, okay? Bye-bye.